Hey there, fellow citizens! Ever feel like your wallet's getting lighter even though you haven't splurged on that solid gold jetpack yet? Well, you might be experiencing the sneaky effects of inflation. You see, inflation is like that friend who eats all your snacks, but insists they barely touch them. It's the gradual increase in prices over time, which means your hard-earned money buys less than it used to. Remember when a gallon of gas cost less than a large latte? Yeah, good times. Think of it this way, inflation is like a slow leak in your tire. You might not notice it at first, but eventually, you'll be stuck on the side of the road, desperately trying to inflate a metaphorical tire with a metaphorical bike pump. So what causes this insidious economic gremlin to rear its ugly head? Well, it's a whole bunch of factors like supply chain disruptions, increased demand, and governments printing money faster than a hamster on a wheel. Think of it like a game of musical chairs, where the chairs are goods and services, and the music is the economy. When the music stops or the economy slows down, there are fewer chairs to go around, and people are willing to pay more to snag one. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to dive deep into the wacky world of inflation. Let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, grocery shopping. Remember when you could walk into a supermarket and not feel like you needed a small loan to buy a week's worth of food? Thanks to inflation, those days might feel as distant as your last decent night's sleep. Suddenly, that avocado toast you love so much costs more than your monthly streaming subscriptions combined. But it's not just avocados throwing a fit. Everything from gas to rent to that pair of pants you've been eyeing seems to be caught in an upward price spiral. It's enough to make you want to trade your car for a horse and buggy and start churning your own butter. Now, you might be tempted to bury your head in the sand and pretend this is all just a bad dream. But ignoring inflation is like ignoring that weird smell coming from your refrigerator. It won't magically disappear, and it'll probably just get worse. Instead, let's channel our inner detectives and figure out how to navigate this price tag tango. The key is to become a savvy shopper. Look for deals, compare prices, and don't be afraid to embrace your inner coupon clipper. Inflation isn't just about rising prices, it also throws a wrench into the job market. Imagine this, you're a skilled artisan, crafting artisanal cat toys out of only the finest organic yarn. But as the cost of yarn skyrockets, you have to raise the price of your cat toys. And suddenly, Fluffy's owners are opting for the cheap, mass-produced stuff. This, my friends, is the harsh reality of inflation's impact on employment. As businesses face rising costs for materials, production, and even labor, they have to make tough choices. Some might raise prices, risking a drop in sales. Others might cut costs, leading to layoffs or reduced hours. But don't despair. It's not all doom and gloom in the job market. In fact, inflation can sometimes lead to wage growth. The key is to stay informed and adaptable. Let's talk about savings, shall we? That magical pot of money you're supposed to be diligently squirreling away for a rainy day, a down payment on a house, or maybe even that solid gold jetpack we talked about earlier. But here's the thing about inflation. It's like a mischievous gremlin that sneaks into your savings account and slowly but surely eats away at the value of your hard-earned cash. You see, when inflation is high, the purchasing power of your money decreases. That means that the same amount of money you saved last year might not buy you as much this year. But don't go stuffing your cash in your mattress just yet. There are ways to protect your savings from the erosive effects of inflation. One option is to invest your money in assets that tend to outpace inflation, such as stocks, real estate, or even those funky digital things called cryptocurrencies. The domino effect inflation's ripple through the economy. Inflation isn't just some abstract economic concept that only matters to Wall Street hotshots and people who wear monocles unironically. Think of it like a giant game of dominoes. When inflation rears its ugly head, it sets off a chain reaction that affects everything from consumer spending to business investment to government policy. Suddenly, businesses are hesitant to invest, consumers are tightening their belts, and the government is scrambling to get things under control. And you know what happens when the economy gets the sniffles? Everyone gets sick. Inflation can lead to slower economic growth, higher unemployment, and even social unrest. The point is that inflation is a complex issue with far-reaching consequences, and understanding how it works is essential for navigating our increasingly interconnected and, dare I say, wacky world. Government to the rescue, policies to combat inflation. Now, you might be wondering, if inflation is this terrible economic monster you speak of, surely there must be some brave knights in shining armor ready to slay the beast? And you're right. Enter, stage left, the government. Cue dramatic music and a wind machine. You see, governments have a whole arsenal of tools at their disposal to combat inflation. One of their main weapons is interest rates. By raising interest rates, the government can make it more expensive for people and businesses to borrow money, which can help slow down spending and, in turn, inflation. Another tool in their arsenal is fiscal policy. This involves adjusting government spending and taxes to influence the economy. But here's the catch: managing inflation is like trying to juggle chainsaws while riding a unicycle on a tightrope. It's a delicate balancing act, and there's always the risk of things going horribly wrong. The balancing act strategies for thriving amidst inflation. All right, folks, we've covered a lot of ground here, from the basics of inflation to its impact on our wallets, jobs, and even our savings. But before you give in to despair, remember this: knowledge is power. And now that you're armed with a better understanding of inflation, you can start taking steps to protect yourself and even thrive in this crazy, mixed-up economy. So put on your game face, grab your metaphorical financial toolbox, and let's do this. First things first, budget, budget, budget. By tracking your spending, you can identify areas where you can cut back and free up some extra cash. Plus, it's incredibly satisfying to see where your money is actually going. Next up, invest in yourself. That's right, you, my friend, are your greatest asset. A penny for your thoughts: inflation around the world. Now, you might be thinking this is all well and good, but is inflation just an American problem? Do people in other countries have to deal with this economic shenanigans? And the answer, my friends, is a resounding yes. Inflation is a global phenomenon, affecting countries big and small, rich and poor. Think of it like this: the global economy is like a giant pot of soup, and inflation is like a pinch of salt. A little bit of salt can enhance the flavor, but too much can ruin the whole pot. Similarly, a little bit of inflation can be a sign of a healthy economy, but too much can lead to all sorts of problems. The point is, inflation is a global issue that requires global solutions. The future of your finances: navigating an uncertain tomorrow. So, what does the future hold for our wallets, our economies, and our collective financial sanity? Well, if I had a crystal ball that could predict the future of inflation with 100% accuracy, I wouldn't be here talking to you lovely people. But alas, I'm just a humble comedian with a microphone and a passion for making economics slightly less boring. So instead of making bold predictions about the future, let's talk about what we do know. Inflation has been a persistent challenge for economies throughout history, and there's no reason to believe that it's going away anytime soon. The good news is that we can learn from the past and prepare for the future. By understanding the causes and effects of inflation, making informed financial decisions, and advocating for sound economic policies, we can navigate the uncertainty and build a more stable and prosperous future. Join the conversation, stay informed, stay ahead. Well, there you have it, folks. A crash course on inflation, the economic gremlin that's been lurking in the shadows of our lives. We've covered a lot of ground tonight, from the basics of inflation to its impact on our wallets, jobs, and even our savings. But most importantly, we've learned that while inflation can be a real pain in the, well, it's not an insurmountable challenge. By understanding how inflation works, making informed financial decisions, and staying engaged with the economic landscape, we can all navigate these turbulent times and come out stronger on the other side. Remember, knowledge is power, and a well-informed citizen is a powerful citizen. Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay awesome. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Express Econ Geo Finance Insights for more insightful content.